Get well soon messages projected from a building to a legend with whom none can compare. Most, if not all, football fans see him as the greatest of all time. And with that, we say get well soon to the legendary Pele. The final whistle from the group stages has blown, and the upsets were tearful. The victories, in some cases, immaculate. And the unexpected became the expected. Every single player taking part in this competition dreams of glory and scoring that winning goal. But in the end, we all know there can only be one winner. And you've gotten undeniably the best analysis from a group of winners. Wouldn't be complete without an astute panel. From my right and your left, coach and technical director of Humble Lion, assistant coach of the Reggae Girls World Cup qualifying team to France 2019, and Calabar High School head coach Andrew Price. And then we've also got assistant coach at Arnett Gardens FC, technical director at Campion College, and the technical director at Kingston Football Academy, Eric Rademacher, the man making waves in local football from the Netherlands. Assistant coach at FC Cincinnati 2, a former coach of Portmore United, winning Portmore United team in the Jamaica Premier League, and a former Reggae Boys captain Shavar Thomas, and Rhodes Scholar and former Reggae Girl and Reggae Girls manager Sharona Forrester is also in studio with me. Joining us via Zoom in Qatar is assistant coach of Salal SC, former assistant coach for the Reggae Boys, and former Jamaica College head coach Miguel Coley. All right, so we're going to get our show started. Of course, I'm sure you were tuned in. I'm your host, Jordan Fort, and the latest coming in, the Brazilians beaten by Cameroon by 1-0, and Serbia. They went down to Switzerland. Switzerland winning that one by 3-2. And it is Brazil and Switzerland who will make progress to the round of 16. So the Brazilians, even though they lost that game, still topping the group. But before we get into all the analysis, the crazy guy, the Maverick, he is, as usual, on the go. Where in the world is he? Let's find out.
Hey, the Maverick is on the go, and I told you, you might never know. Guess where the Maverick there? Guess where the streets carry the Maverick, yeah? We in the middle of the commercial district, downtown Kingston, the corner, Peters Lane, and South Parade. It's a big commercial area with all kind of goods on sale, including some World Cup paraphernalia. And we'll get a perspective from one of the vendors them about which one of the countries paraphernalia sell the most. But before we do that, this man here, I the loudest man down here, and that lady, I the loudest lady down here. You know why she the loudest lady? Because she support Argentina and Brazil just lose. Ladies first, come here. By the way, people, the watch center down here, right at Peters Lane corner, you see, the watch center was a cell phone. And the whole lane, I watch the football on the cell phone. Anyway, so the happiest lady in the house here. Wagwan, how you feel so good?
I feel so elated and nice and excited. Brazil has lost their game. And we are all in this thing together. 6 points going into the knockout. Roar Argentina. 1 Messi. 1 Argentina.
All right, come here, my friend. You are the most vocal man. It look like you are the man who responds for the sports discussion on the corner here, sir. What you say? World Cup overall. What you say about the World Cup here overall?
No, nice. Don't have Peters Lane, don't have town. Yeah. And Mary's birthday today too, you know. Yeah. Don't have town, me and the Maverick. Mad thing this. Me I tell you about. But long before Brazil lose him 1-0 today. Yeah. Me I tell my friend them say, and my people them say, Brazil have to lose a match to win the World Cup here. And this is the match we want Brazil lose. 1-0, but we gone. We just a central black man make you go eat a food like yourself. Big up Brazil.
All right, hold on there. One more. Hold on. The Maverick want to, hold on, I promise you, the Maverick want to get a perspective from one of the vendors who's selling the World Cup paraphernalia. Same thing them behind him there, so you have jersey from Brazil, you have Portugal, you have you have Argentina, you have Spain. But you're more asking now, you talk to the people from Flying Al Whistle. Which one of the merchandise from which one of the country sell the most?
Now Brazil.
You serious?
Brazil.
What you say? You not tell me earlier say you buy 10 of each.
Me buy 10 small Brazil, 10 small Argentina. And now me can't sell Argentina. Me afraid.
No man. No, man, because Brazil play today.
Oh, Brazil. Everybody come ask you Brazil.
All Argentina fans ask you Brazil.
Them not asking, no, they not spend the money.
Eh?
Brazil.
Brazil fans have all the money.
Yeah, they must spend. I pay Brazil the pit them one. You look kids them one. See one here.
Yes,
Brazil.
All right.
Brazil.
All right. Look at the Maverick down at town, you know. Yeah. Peters Lane Corner and South Parade. And the Maverick in the streets. And the people them say World Cup. And the people them say football. And the people them say Maverick. But you know me, I don't know. Me a shop. Me a buy. Hold on. Me a buy a sneakers. Me a buy a sneakers when I don't get. You have my size, my boss. You have my size. You have my size already. All right. I talk to you tomorrow. I'm going to spend some money, you know. I'm going to buy a name brand, you know. Hey, Maverick on the go!
I told you what to expect, I told you. The guy is crazy, but a lot of vibes down there, downtown Kingston, and the Maverick capturing the atmosphere. I don't believe that vendor, though, that no Argentine flags have been sold. I have a sneaky feeling as a Brazil fan, that vendor there trying to pour scorn on the Argentine team. But let's get into it. Of course, you can keep up with our coverage. You can chime in as well on social media, Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. And you can also listen to us on Hits 92 FM. So let us start off with, I think, the match everyone wants to discuss. Brazil going down by 1-0 to Cameroon just a short while ago. Vincent Abubakar getting the winning goal for the Cameroonians. Wasn't enough, of course, to see them progress to the round of 16. His second goal of the World Cup, and then what did he do after? Removed his shirt, got a second yellow, and got sent off. Won't matter anyway, because as I said, they are out. But Coach Price, 9 changes from Brazil, and we saw the same thing with Deschamps and France. They lost in their final group game, having made 9 changes. Now Brazil has lost. But in hindsight, though, do you think it was the right decision by the coach to make wholesale changes?
Definitely. I mean, he had the luxury of doing it, already qualifying for the round of 16. But to make 9 changes is a lot of changes. And what he did, he gave a lot of people the opportunity to prove that they are worth utilizing in the round of 16 and the knockout phase. And a lot of them didn't crown themselves in glory. I think if you look at all the players out there, probably the best change that you had out there who started was Martinelli. He was very sprightly, looked very engaging, and he played well. But the rest of the players really didn't shine themselves in glory.
Of course, he's been on great form for his English Premier League team, Arsenal. What did you see in that contest, Shavar, why the Brazilians weren't able to get a goal in against Cameroon?
Well, Cameroon came out and they were smarter today in terms of their defensive structure, not getting too spread apart, and stayed compact vertically and horizontally. The couple of times, the 2 times that they get stretched was when Martinelli made a dribble and Rodrigo made a dribble and they had to foul him on top of the box. But I think Cameroon came out with a game plan and it worked. They played this game in quarters. You could see each time they lose the ball, they were coming back, getting behind the ball as much as possible, trying to nullify what the Brazilian is bringing. And the other end, they get their chances, Mbuemo got a header on, good save by Alisson, and then come the Abubakar cross. Goal, headed goal. Take their chances.
Yeah, Coach Rademacher's, not obviously the full Brazil team here on display at the start, but did Cameroon show any opposition, any weakness in this Brazil team, or was it all, can we just write this off as a fluke result because basically so many changes were made?
Weaknesses in the B squad, kind of talking about, and I think it's really crucial for Brazil if you want, fine-tune your best team, you have to play your best team. So as Price was saying, I think it's really for him, observing who of these guys that I want to use in the round of 16 can show me in a match that they're actually ready.
By the way, is there anybody who played today who made a case for themselves who hasn't started for Brazil?
I think it's going to be difficult to really get a starting position from the Brazil team until somebody starts perform bad. But I have to agree. I think Martinelli is somebody who was very lively. They're going to be sitting on the bench and 68-minute reach. We're going to be looking at the coach. Say, Coach, ready now. But you lose 1-0 to Cameroon. I think Cameroon was maybe lacking a little bit more tactic in the attacking part to really expose some of Brazil, maybe slowness here and there. I think Dani Alves, you know, a great player, great career. You see moments where, you know, you think, yeah, great, but then also you have other moments I say, boy, not sure if that can really work against a top team. But Cameroon is not a top team, so you still kind of get away with it. But they still lose 1-0, so I think it's good for the coach because you have now a squad that kind of feels, all right, you know, we are here. And it's easier to make decisions, but as a coach, sometimes you want tough decisions because that means everybody is performing.
Yeah, Sharona, do you prefer it this way? I mean, making these changes and, okay, the result doesn't matter much in terms of what happens going forward, or would you have preferred to have kept that perfect winning streak alive for Brazil?
Well, we saw one team do it in France and another team do it. It must be a strategy. It couldn't be that the coaches are crazy. No, we're not playing one match, we're playing a tournament, and that's what we have to remember. So I think it's very good to rest players. You're going into every game after this is a tough game. And if you can have your best players at the maximum level, that you can't ask for anything more than that. So I prefer to lose now with a B squad or an A squad, but to have my players rested for the next round.
Coach Coley, what did you see today from the Brazilians that you can maybe take going forward? Are there any lessons to be learned? Is there anybody who could stake a claim, you think, to get into the starting 11 come the round of 16?
Well, as most of the coaches have explained, Martinelli is somebody who I really like. Him and Vinny could compete for the left wing position going forward. Martinelli getting more minutes. What is important though for the Brazilian was you look at the goal that they conceded. You watch one striker versus 3 defenders, and the striker in space superiority. You notice the two center back lapse it. So that is something they have to look at, and they have to understand also that you have to play the game until it's over. But the speed of the Brazil game wasn't bad. They missed a lot of chances. I believe they could have created more too. But kudos to the Cameroon team, especially in the midfield. When you look at Aguisa and Conde, who since the last match he played, he has bring some amount of energy to the Cameroon team. And also, I noticed something in this tournament. Most of the coaches are getting their best team or the best system at the end. You look, Cameroon from, every game, Chopper starting, Abuka on the bench. And you watch today, they brought both of them inside, in which they could close the middle, so you could have the 2 striker and the 2 central midfielder creating a box inside of the middle, and so, somehow dictate how the Brazilian played, going to the wing a little bit more when they wanted to be a little bit vertical. But it is disappointing to lose, despite the change that the coach made. He doesn't want to lose. But what they have to look at is the goal that they have conceded. Many teams will look at this, especially a team like a South Korea, Japan, who play on the counter and make the quick cross. They have to have be a little bit more vigilant and have to, good deep cover in a situation like this.
And that's who they'll play next. They'll play South Korea next in the round of 16, the Brazilians. Coach Coley, I wanted to zoom in a little bit more on what you just said. The coaches, you're a coach yourself. You guys, as you said, you want to win all the time. So even though you've made these many changes, you'd be angry that you conceded a goal the way they did. Is there a blueprint here in how you can beat this Brazil team? Because I think before the tournament started, we all would have agreed that in defense is where they have the most frailties.
Well, you notice they brought in a new defender, 2 new defenders inside, and we had a discussion before about making changes in the defense. It's never easy to come in and have a new defensive unit and be cohesive or well coordinated. So the coach can look at that and understand, in a sense, in terms of not to say that to the player, but understand a little bit. And also when you have a lot of changes, it's difficult to have the feeling for each other, regardless of how good a player you are or good a team that you are. So it's always disappointed to lose, but as a coach, you have to look at the positive from this game in terms of the tempo in which the team played at, the chances that they've created. Could have created more, but you have to look at the positive. And as I said, Brazil players, unlike the France, they have big mentality. You can lose a game like this in this round and still bounce back. With a smaller team losing the last game, it's sometimes difficult to pick up momentum.
All right, we want to continue that discussion after the break. Stay with us on a final whistle here. We've got lots more for you. Liam?
Yep, hello?
Yeah, Liam, can you hear us loud and clear?
Yes, I can.
Okay, great.
How much we were Netherlands resting on them last year? God, they needed.
All right, welcome back now to Final Whistle. We're continuing our discussion on that Brazil-Cameroon contest. I've got to my right, to your left, two defenders who, by the way, little known fact, were a defensive pairing at one stage in their careers. Hard to believe, I know. But Coach Andrew Price and Shavar Thomas once played together for Real Mona. Can you imagine going up against these two in a back four? That must be very scary. So I want to talk to you both about the defense of the Brazilians today. Coach Thomas, you know, we saw the number of changes that they made. Ultimately, I guess anytime you concede a goal, you're looking at the defenders. As always. You should know all about that, where it went wrong. But the Brazilians, of course, Thiago Silva and Marquinhos are their two main centre-backs. But they're also dealing with injuries to their fullbacks in Danilo and Alex Sandro. So how do they, I guess, ensure that, because as we heard Coach Coley say, and I think you said as well, you don't necessarily want to mess with that defensive lineup because you break the cohesion.
Yeah, most definitely. And also we saw Alex Telles went out today with injuries, so you know that's a bummer. But when you don't, that's the part of the team, like Coach Coley said, and as we've been saying, that you don't want to do too much because it's hard to get that, you know, camaraderie, to build that in one game or in one practice. It's not easy. So it's easier to change the front of your team than the back of your team because it takes just one misstep, one lack of communication, and there's a goal, just like we saw on the cross. But I would want to think that the Brazilian coach, ball goes wide, you get close to the guy in the box. It's simple. Closest guy, you get him, you grab him, you get near to him so you can make a challenge or make it hard for him. And that didn't happen today on the goal.
Yeah. Coach Price, when they all come back fit, or if they all come back fit, because let's put that proviso in there as well, do they lose anything because they didn't start together this game, the back four for Brazil?
No, it depends on the back four that the coach decides. One thing players have to understand, even though you're not playing the game, while you're on the bench, you should be looking at the game and looking at the errors and the positive things that players do, so that when you get your opportunity, you don't make the same errors. And of course, experienced players like Thiago Silva and Marquinhos, they have a very good combination. They've been playing together for a while, so they would know and identify the mistake that the two central defenders made today for Brazil, and know that when we are out there, we can't make that happen, and it's going to be very important that we have that synergy out there. So it's about the players who are not playing also viewing the game and taking an interest and saying, look, when I get out there, I'm not going to make what happened there. A ball is squared over, we have to get close to the player, get on the inside of the player so he doesn't have an inroad to the goal. And that wasn't done by the two defenders today. And it was a cardinal sin to allow Abubakar to come in between the two of them and score that goal unmolested. As you saw with the header, Ederson didn't even move because it was a pinpoint header. He couldn't save it.
Would you agree that's a weak area for Brazil?
I wouldn't say so. In the two previous games, I think the defense defended stoutly. As a matter of fact, in the previous two games, not one shot was taken to Alisson. So it shows the defensive cohesiveness that they have with the experienced players.
And Casemiro also playing a key role in that midfield for the Brazilians as well in terms of protecting that defense. Coach Rademacher, we've been talking a lot about Brazil, but the match really, the real good match today was Serbia-Switzerland, because the Brazilians already were through. Cameroon were still in with a chance, but they had to depend on what happened in that game between Serbia and Switzerland. Ultimately, it turned out that the Swiss came through and won that game by 3-2, having trailed by 2-1 at one stage to Serbia. What happened with Serbia, though? Because you look at the Serbian team, you know, Alexander Mitrovic, Vlahovic, Dusan Tadic, you know, the names jump out, and they've been playing well, but they just don't seem to stop conceding goals.
I mean, I think it's right, as you say, Vlahovic, Mitrovic, Tadic, Kostic, they play higher up the field, and that's where they produce some goals. I think they scored 5 or 6 goals in the group stages, which I think is on the top half of when you look at the World Cup. But I think they're number 1 or number 2 when it comes to conceded goals, and that is just the defense where, today was a similar match. I mean, I think Switzerland, compared to the Cameroon 3-3 match, there were so many defensive openings. I mean, it was fun to watch. You see two teams that go at it with each other, and both Switzerland and Serbia have quality up front when they go there. But you wonder, you know, how much focus do they have on that defensive discipline? Get quickly behind the ball, get numbers behind the ball, slide across quickly, don't give their penetrative pass. And I think those things Serbia did not have in order this World Cup, and it cost them.
Yeah, and of course, though Cameroon were knocked out, Breel Mbolo, who was born in Cameroon, plays for Switzerland. He's going through to the round of 16 with the Swiss team. Does this Swiss team, Sharona, have the ability to upset some of the more fancied teams when they get to the knockout stages, you think?
I think so. I think today showed that they're not just a good defensive unit, because they really brought it to Serbia. Well, as you said, we like the back and forth. But if you look at it, the goal was scored in the 48th minute thereabouts. So there was a lot of time in the game, a lot of opportunities, and they didn't convert it. And Serbia, they've just been leaking goals. And we said it yesterday, once you do that, you are more likely to lose than win.
Yeah, and they will match up against Portugal in the round of 16. The Swiss having beaten Serbia. Coach Coley, I want you to come in here. How impressed have you been with this Swiss unit? As Sharona said, I think in the start of the group stages, they were proving really to be a stingy team, but here they come out and score 3 goals.
Well, I won't say I'm overly impressed. I'm more disappointed with Serbia. When you play a 3-5-2, especially with a number 10 and to a 6 and an 8, what happens is that in the wide areas and in the half spaces, you know, teams will always play. But and that allowed the Swiss team to have good orientation changes, had time to build up. But what I could not understand, especially when the Serbian team, they went 2-1. You find even Tadic, he was going up and his team was leading 2-1 as he was trying to get another goal. But many times the Serbian team had numerical superiority inside of the box, but they were stopping the crosses. You know, the likes of like Kostic and Zikovic, you know, these guys, I feel they were poor. were very, very poor. And then two number six didn't give them much support at all. So every single time the Swiss had the ball, I'm expecting the goalkeeper to make that save. So it was very disorganized from the Serbian point of view. It was too easy to penetrate. There was no block whatsoever. So you use this probably game to teach a school team to say, hey, these are things that you're not supposed to do. You need to be vigilant. You need to, prevent the square. You need to be tight on the striker inside. So this is what I get from it. I'm not upset, but for me, I was carrying Serbia, so I'm really, really disappointed. really disappointed.
But despite that, though, Coach, what did you see from the Swiss, though? I mean, are they organized enough? Do they have enough balance, both going forward and defensively, to be able to upset Portugal when they get to the round of 16?
It will be difficult, but as I said, they're very organized. Today's game, you see Rodriguez going up a little bit higher, and you saw his quality. Is a seasoned wing back in the Swiss team. The Vargas, you saw him a little bit more. Shaqiri, he came in. He didn't play in the last game. He came in, was very fresh, and he brought some impetus to the game. Bolo seemed to be moving a little bit more, seemed a little bit flexible. I watched him against Cameroon, and he was very a little bit lethargic to me. But this game, I saw him running off the ball a little bit more, showing different offerings for the ball. But it's a good team. Shakhtar is doing very well. He's being very patient. He's doing the hard work. When you see his numbers in terms of kilometers, he's doing 11 kilometers up there with the Casemiro and Popovic. So they're putting the pieces together. They look much better today as a unit, but I think it was made easier for them by the poor and dismal defensive unit of Serbia.
Yeah, they must be doing something right, Shavar, Switzerland. I mean, at first I thought, maybe not so enterprising, maybe not going to be the greatest watch, but here they come out in a pretty open game and score 3 goals.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I always say their defensive structure is perfect. It was the only thing I was worried about is how they're going to score goals. And looking back, it's a situation where their coach and the players are playing to plan, and it's working. So for me, going forward, I think they have shown everything on both ends of the field, attacking and offense and defensive, to upset a Portugal team. I mean, today you see Granit Xhaka playing more in an advanced position, going forward, as opposed to when he was playing against Brazil. He was more sitting in front of the back line, making passes and making them touches. And we didn't see Jordan Shaqiri, maybe because of a tactical change. And today we saw him. They're more offensive. He's more of an offensive threat, and he gave them a different look, getting balls into Mbolo and making it happen. And they got it done.
Yeah, I want to juxtapose that now to what we saw with Portugal going down in their final group game as well, Coach Price. They'll have to come up against this Swiss team. A lot of changes for them as well, having already been into the round of 16. But is there anything you saw with the Portuguese, given that they made a lot of changes, that will make them susceptible to what Switzerland will have to do against them?
Well, one thing I can tell you, the Swiss team is a very organized team. They know how to attack. When they attack in a 4-2-3-1 formation. But when they defend in 4 blocks in midfield and 4 blocks in defense. So they're very organized and keep a very good shape, and they're very disciplined. But they can exploit spaces behind the Portugal defense, and I believe that's what they're going to do. Switzerland was always my dark horse in this World Cup, and I warned my fellow analysts that Switzerland was going to qualify. They came with a plan, and their coach had a plan. Their coach looked at the schedule of games and knew that the Brazil game, being the second game, would be a very difficult game for him to win, and wanted to really just stay in that game and see if he could even get a draw out of the game. As a matter of fact, Shaqiri didn't even play that game. He was rested, and I believe he was deliberately rested because they knew the Serbia game would be the tiebreaker, and they needed to win that game. So I think the plan worked very well for the Switzerland coach, and they're into the round of 16.
All right, we're going to take another break here now on the final whistle. When we come back, we talk about the 2 other games which were played today. We do have Qatar Connect, do we? Talk to me. We do? All right, so we'll leave you with that heading into the break. When we come back, we've got some more discussion.
Qatar Connect, brought to you by Digicel, Grace, Pepsi, and Burger King.
Hi, hello, yes. I'm Curtis Binns, and living in Qatar has been it's been really good. I haven't had no issues with it. It's been safe. Everything's clean. The food is really good as well. I met some of my best friends there as well, and yeah, it's really a good country to live in, but it's just really hot. That's the only thing. It's really, really hot, especially in the summer. So most of the time, I'm always indoors. But overall, the healthcare, the management, everything Qatar is good. It's clean. What I miss from home is, I would say, that the food, and I miss my family as well, and the music, and yeah, man, I just miss the whole vibes of Jamaica, man. I really do. And my prediction for the World Cup, I would say Brazil. I hope Brazil will win it all. And I just want to shout out my cousins, my aunts, my family and friends that are in Jamaica. And I hope they're safe and I hope they're doing well.
Qatar Connect, brought to you by Digicel, Grace, Pepsi, and Burger King.
Welcome back now to Final Whistle. All right, so two other very interesting games played today. Remember, we had a big discussion on this program yesterday about Cristiano Ronaldo. Should he start? Should he not start? Should he play any part at all in Portugal's final group game today? Well, he did start, played, I think, a little over an hour in this game for Portugal. They ended up losing in their final group game, but still through to the round of 16, safely through, of course, and topping the group. Coach Rademacher's right decision or wrong decision for Cristiano Ronaldo to play?
Well, I think if you look back at the match, which you lose, he didn't score, better you would have rested him. But I think that...
You're going to say that now?
I think the idea, the decision behind it was not let me make him play and not score. I think the decision was very much, it's a game where, you know, he can get on the score sheet and we can go into the round of 16 with, you know, that good energy. And I think they maybe could have had that opportunity if they really, you know, pushed on, but they didn't. And then you look now, boy, you get a little tired, legs unnecessary. But it's easier to talk in hindsight.
It is. What is it, though, about the Korea Republic, Shavar, that they, I mean, I want to pair them with Japan and say these two Asian teams.
It's not just the Korean Republic.
No, but what
it's the Asian teams, it's the North African teams, what they have shown so far. They're disciplined, they're determined, they're consistent with their play, they stick to their system, and obviously in the second half, I think the coaching staff do an immaculate job, scouting teams, seeing their weakness, and, arming their teams with information and buying their time that, okay, in this zone, this is where we press. In this time of the game, this is what we're going to do. And the players are following instructions immaculately.
Miguel, what do they do? What does South Korea do? Why are they getting these, what we would like to call upset results?
Well, as Mr. Thomas mentioned, they stick to their principles. Their principle in terms of defensive, the attacking principles, which is counter-attacking and fast break. They have, but what I love about them is the counter pressing. You saw today they play with both wing back high, and the Portugal team could not exploit that because every single time they lose the ball, they were counter pressing, especially in the middle block, and I think that was very, very impressive. And this is what I expect when I watch a World Cup game. That's why we're very upset with the Serbian team. But they are very good counter pressing. They know they change. You see Song moving from the left side to the right side strategically, because what happened on the left side, he was cutting in, going in inside everything inverted, and each time they were creating an overload, defensive overload against him. And he went to the right side where he could go down and make cross and make the team the pitch a little bit wider. So, as Coach Shavar said, the coaching staff, everybody is thinking, they know the opponent. FIFA has been doing a very good job at providing not only all of the teams as the game is over with all of the matrices, all of the information about the other teams, and they're paying keen attention. And the players, I coach the captain of the current team, not present captain, but they're very, very disciplined, extremely disciplined. You saw Woo Young from Al Sadd, he was in the midfield today, and he was like a pillar. He was a pillar of confidence, a pillar of support for the team. And as I said, they're very compact. They were in a block, and I would expect the Portuguese team to, go a little bit wider and then, play the ball in the houses behind them a little bit more, but they didn't have a lot of midfield runs. So that's something you have to look at if you're going to play the South Korean, switching the ball quickly and then playing the ball in the half space or the assist zone and put the cross in, because that is something that they may be susceptible to.
Yeah, I heard that term a lot when you referred to this Korea Republic team, the word discipline. I hope to get back to that a little bit later on. But Sharona, from your perspective, what do you see? Of course, they match up with Brazil in the round of 16. Surely they must be looking to create another upset.
Well, always. You're always going to win. Nobody goes into a game hoping to lose. I think the discipline is their main thing. They do it across all sporting areas, the Asians. And it will be very interesting because I expect the teams to come out a little differently. Just as how we saw when people's back were against the rope. They played differently. And I don't think the performance we saw today from Brazil, that's the kind of mentality they will be going into a knockout game. So it's going to be an exciting matchup. There are no soft teams in the round of 16. So it's go hard or go home.
By the way, that game comes up on December 5 between Brazil and South Korea. Neymar, we do have some footage of him in training, himself and Sandro and Danilo, the injured players, and let's see if we can get some of that footage now. There we are. So Neymar trying to get himself back up to speed. It's doing some upper body work there, but I thought it was the ankle that was the real problem. Okay, there he is now, working himself out. So I think the assumption is that he's going to be fit for the round of 16, but of course you never know how much you'll be able to get out of him, and that could be, I guess, a big decision for Chiche. What do you do, Coach Andrew Price, if you're Chiche heading into that game and Neymar says to you, Coach, I'm about 80%. Do you say, okay, give me it from start and give me maybe an hour and then I'll monitor you after that? Or, what's the decision making like?
Well, what they have to do is look at the backroom staff. The medical staff is very important for our teams, especially Brazil. I know what type of medical staff they have. They will give Coach Tiche the right information, whether he's ready to go or he's not to go. If they tell him that he's only about 80%, then he'll keep him on the bench. But if they tell him that he's good to go, he's going to start him, because Brazil is just a better team when he's on the field. So definitely, if he's available and can play for 90 minutes, he's going to play 90 minutes. If not, they will use him sparingly. I mean, I think they are of the opinion that they'll be able to get over South Korea. So, you know, it might not be a big rush to get him back starting. But if he's available, he'll definitely play.
You sure you want to say that, Coach Price?
Oh, sure, definitely.
They were supposed to get over Cameroon.
Yeah.
9 changes, remember that. Remember, 9 changes.
Context.
We talk about expecting the unexpected in this World Cup, so you never know. Uruguay and Ghana, we also had a hot debate about that one yesterday. Of course, we're talking about Ghana trying to exercise those demons of 2010 when Uruguay, Luis Suarez, infamously handled the ball on the line, and then Asamoah Gyan stepped up and skied the resulting penalty. Ghana out of the World Cup then at the quarter-final stage, and Uruguay making progress. Luis Suarez made no bones about the fact that he's not sorry for what he did in 2010, but he was in tears today. Even though Uruguay beat Ghana, they were still eliminated from this World Cup. But I want to talk about a controversial issue at the start of that game, Shavar. Andre Ayew getting a penalty, getting the opportunity to put Ghana up by a 0-0. Of course, they were still in with a shot of making the round of 16 at that stage. And a tame penalty it was.
Very much so. Not only a tame penalty, after that it was just a tame performance. Poor. I mean, a game of this magnitude and the team show up like that, I mean, they're looking to have revenge or, you know, and it was just the Ghana team didn't show up. They didn't turn up, you know, starting with the penalty.
Yeah. Sharona, what happened to them? They look like they lack belief to you?
Most definitely. Even with the penalty, I couldn't even say they were sure that it was going to go in, because there was no Ghanaian there for the rebound because he didn't catch it. You know, there was a ricochet and there was an opportunity again. And after the penalty, the passes were atrocious. You got the sense that they were just discombobulated, and that was the end of that game for them. And I was not surprised when he substituted both Ayew's at the half. But they just didn't get it together. We talk about discipline for the Asian teams, but we can now talk about the indiscipline. Because a goal is scored, you're still in it. 2 goals up, you're still in it. You just had a game where it was 3-2. You had a game where, you know, there are games that go 3-3. You can't have this disbelief and expect to get anywhere.
I don't know if I like the sorts of implications here that the African teams are indisciplined.
No, Ghana.
And that the Asian teams have discipline.
Ghana.
No, but
specifically
very much so,
Ghana.
because I've been saying it, until they adopt the style, defensive structure of, you know, moving in a unison and playing together and willing to play without the ball and run and do all the things that the Asian teams and the North African teams are doing, then they will not be in a World Cup final.
But Shavar, I think we have to realize as well, when you look at African League, because we've been talking about tactically, they've been doing better. And they're getting better there. It also, as part of the Scully says, we have more information for us, so we better hold on. But the culture that's behind the African countries and the Asian countries. Asian countries are known. We see them clean up the stadiums.
Correct.
For what? That's in their culture.
So it's a cultural thing.
Yeah,
no, when I'm saying when you make improvements to where you're coming from, the most difficult improvements are the ones that go against the culture that's already established. So a big step for these African countries will be in the future to get more disciplined players, which will happen because the professionalizing of individuals has really taken off the last 10, 20 years. True. So the more that will happen, the more we're going to see part of that. And it is true, as you say, yes, the indiscipline is a part of the African countries, but there is a lot of progress. When we look at the tactical side, I think Ghana was extreme, as you say, compared to some of the other ones. But I thought we have Tunisia that played very disciplined game. Morocco played very disciplined.
Compared to their previous performances. Because that is what indiscipline is, you know. It's not just tearing off your shirt or going and kicking down somebody. Because in our culture as well, the African culture, there is a fight. There is a zeal. And, you know, you want to put your good foot forward. But you have to keep doing the right things consistently.
Yeah, and let's not extricate ourselves. And I don't mean to go off script, Madam Producer, but of course, Jamaica, we talk about the discipline of the Asian teams. Japan made it to the World Cup for the very first time with Jamaica in 1998.
1998.
They've been back to every tournament since.
Yes.
Now they're in the round of 16, I think maybe for the third or fourth time since then. Jamaica has not been back. Are we talking again societally, Shavar? Is it indiscipline for us? Let's not just talk about the African
it's
teams
not
of
just
the-
indiscipline. It's not just on the field of play. It's a lot of other things.
But it's still indiscipline, isn't
Let me
it?
tell you
It
one
is,
thing,
of
though. Let me
course.
tell you one thing. When we look at the indiscipline in the moment that cost them with Ghana, I look at Saidu, the right back. I mean, they missed the ball the first goal, but we look at the second goal. We have a four-man back line, and the right back is with the RS Keita, and he moves to the inside because he thinks I can win this battle here. The centre back is right there. The centre back should move up. He can stay closer, and he would have blocked the shot. In this specific moment, I see it in Jamaica a lot. I have the pleasure to work, and I think we're very talented players. And,
But we're
and
indisciplined.
see certain weakness. Over at Arnett, we have very talented players.
But they're indisciplined.
I see moments where I don't even want to say indiscipline is a word as you
Careful,
say. What do we
Eric.
think
Careful.
about right way, maybe fight here? But a lot of time is we're almost distracted by thinking I can win this battle. And if we're a little bit more composed in our thinking and decision making at those times, which is a part of that cultural thing, then he would have recognized, Saidu in this case, that is not my task. Yes, the desire and the fight is good to want to win that ball there, but he has to know his task, and his task right there is maybe even tell him right centre back, your step.
But that's tactical discipline, right?
And exactly, this is now tactical discipline.
So,
And I see
in
that
other words, ladies and gentlemen,
similar
Coach
in the
Rademacher
culture.
has taken the long route to say that we're indisciplined. We're going to take another break now on Final Whistle. Stay with us. We have to preview what's to come tomorrow. All right, welcome back now to Final Whistle. Let's be disciplined this time. Coach Miguel Coley was the assistant coach of the Reggae Boys, of course, so he knows a thing or two of what we're talking about indiscipline. But let's stay on track here, though, Coach Coley. Looking ahead to the round of 16, the Netherlands will play a CONCACAF team in the United States. Tell us what we are likely to see.
Well, first of all, I'm very impressed with the United States team. They're very fluid. Tactically, they're very astute, and they're doing very well in the different moments of the game and different phases of the game. So I'm expecting a tough game. The Netherlands team, they have quality, definitely have quality. But playing with a back three, with not so fast, I'm looking forward to USA exploiting those spaces, making runs between the centre back and the wing backs. And also having a lot of possession, especially in the half spaces of either side of the two number 8s that the Netherlands team will play. I'm giving the United States the edge based on their form, and Netherlands not so fluid, not so consistent, not so cohesive. I'm giving the United States the edge in this game.
Yeah, I have to agree, unfortunately, with my fear. The space in between the centre backs and the wing backs. I mean, I'm praying along with 16 million Netherlands person or Dutch persons that Nathan Ake has the best game of his life. Because he's really there to cover for that transition moments when Blind cannot get back in time. I think on the right side, it's similar, but I think Dumfries is much better in covering that space in transition. But we look at De Ligt started the World Cup in that right centre-back position and struggled a lot against Ismail Sarr. Switched it to Jurjen Timber, who's really a centre-back as well at Ajax. Plays a little bit more comfortable right back, but he roams over the field a lot. So it's in those transition moments where you have players like Musa, like Taylor, like McKennie, who can really quickly transition into those half spaces. And that is a concern that with that formation of Van Gaal is playing now. And as we discussed yesterday, is not a man who quickly go and change his approach to a game. So they will want to slow down those transition moments, stop the play right there to kind of make sure that they're covered defensively. But it's something definitely we'll be looking at tomorrow.
I have a pin for you tomorrow.
Yeah.
And I give nothing to you.
By the way, I have to keep on reminding our audiences that Coach Rademacher is from the Netherlands, so he has intimate knowledge of what goes on there. By the way, I'm not sure what their head-to-head is or what they are historically. I think we do have some information on that we're going to put on screen as well. But Sharona, in terms of this contest for you, the US up against the Netherlands, that's the history. 11 World Cup appearances, there we go. So they do have history going up against each other. I think this will put a smile on Coach Rademacher's face that the Netherlands
one never looked too great.
Well, yeah, not the most recent one, but historically they have the statistical advantage.
I mean, even outside the historical part, I think just when you look at the names, you look at, even just like, yes, USA have players now that play at bigger clubs, but what is the history? What is the experience that they have? So I definitely think Netherlands is still a favorite, even when we look at the history. But in the moment, it's going to be a very competitive match when we're looking into this World Cup.
How will this one play out, Sharona, you think?
Well, I think on paper, you would say quickly, the Dutch may take this one. But I think these young USA men are coming with this high energy, high pressing style. And the goals for Netherlands might be tricky tomorrow. So I would give the edge to USA.
Shavar.
No doubt it's the USA. We're trading pins tomorrow. I'm going to give him a USA flag.
I'm going to fight.
But I mean, with what we have seen from the USA.
Shavar is half American, by the way.
With what we have seen from the USA, I mean, they just need to come and play a 90 minutes game in both halves. And once they do that, they've been consistent. They have grown from the first game to where they're at now. And I'm very happy with what I see. But I'm concerned if Pulisic will be in the starting lineup because he left the game with an injury. And he's a big part of their success.
Yeah, I think he actually spoke to the media, Christian Pulisic, Captain America, ahead of this contest. Let's hear what he had to say.
Yeah, so I'm going to go meet now with the team and the medical staff and make a decision on today. Just kind of see how I'm feeling. Taking it day by day right now, but doing everything in my power to be able to be out there on the field on Saturday.
Yeah, so still a doubt, Coach Price. How do you see this one playing out, especially with that doubt?
Definitely a doubt, but I believe that the US will thrive on this adversity. I believe that this game is going to be decided in extra time, and the US are prepared to go the distance. They are going to push the game as long as they can, and if it needs to go down to penalty kicks, they are prepared for penalty kicks. What I don't like in this tournament is the three-man backline. It exploits space, especially down the flanks, and I think the US, with players like Musa and McKennie, will exploit those spaces. So, I think it's going to be a very tough chess match between both teams. The Dutch haven't looked very aggressive other than Gakpo up front. Depay might start with him tomorrow, but they haven't been really aggressive and potent up front. So it's going to be a real chess match where both teams are trying to see how quickly they can break down each other. But one thing I can tell you, the US are prepared to go the distance. So if there are mistakes during the game and the Dutch can't come back, it might be over early.
Yeah, but by the way, I think we spent more time on that because we all agree that will be probably the tighter contest. I don't think anybody in here thinks Australia will give Argentina any problems.
You never know.
Coach Coley, I don't think you think Australia will give Argentina any problems.
You can feel Coach Shamar hard to replace.
I don't think his heart will be beating too fast just yet, but maybe as it approaches 2 p.m. tomorrow, we won't be able to find Shavar at all because he will not be in a place where he's very comfortable. But we have to end it here on Final Whistle. Of course, we hope you enjoy the matches tomorrow and then come back with us here on this program as we give you the expert analysis. Thank you to all our panelists. Thanks to you, the viewers. Thanks to our producer, Sharisa Jackson, who has constantly been in my ear. We've got to get out of here now. Thanks for watching. Back with you tomorrow, same time, same place. Bye-bye.